What is up, you guys? Michael Elefante here. Let's talk about how much money you can actually make by listing a property on Airbnb. There's a lot of speculation out there on, oh, there's too much competition, or, oh, well, you got cleaning and all these other expenses and it's too expensive and you'll probably end up losing money. And, you know, all those things can be disputed pretty much full and clear, but today I'm going to be focused on how people can really make hundreds of thousands of dollars, and some people even who have scaled to a certain point can make millions of dollars a year by listing properties as a short-term rental and using sites such as Airbnb or VRBO. Now, if you stick around, I'm also going to tell you guys how many properties we have and what our expected annual gross revenue is, what the expected expenses are for the year, and ultimately what our net cash flow or net profit will be for the year, and how we've grown it to where it is today with just 3 properties to where we're expected to make over 6 figures in net profit from these 3 investments moving forward. So by the end of this video, I hope to encourage other people who are interested in investing in short-term rentals. I hope to provide a little bit more insight, and I hope you guys have a much better understanding of how much money you could potentially make listing on Airbnb. So before we get started, guys, if you have any comments, suggestions, questions during the video or after the video, please do not hesitate to put them in the comments below. I will try to respond to any and all comments I get. I love having an open dialogue with folks. If you have suggestions, again, I'm all ears. I still learn something new every single day. So feel free to drop those below. And if you guys get to the end of the video, feel like you got something out of it, please do like and subscribe. It means so much to me. All right, so let's dive in. So Airbnb is a relatively new platform in the past, 10 or so years, but short-term rentals have been around forever. Think more vacation rentals, right? Your family went to the beach for a week and needed a place to stay but didn't want to stay in a hotel. So you wanted to get all the family members or friends in the group and stay in one place. So that's you as an Airbnb host. You can buy a property and rent it out on Airbnb. Airbnb is just the platform for you to do so. So you essentially operate as a micro hotel, right? So you list your house for rent on Airbnb and you can set specific requirements, minimum night stays, things like that. And anybody and everybody can view your property that is using as a guest on Airbnb and find your property, select the number of days they want to book for, and book and pay right there through the app. So it has really made renting your place out so much easier, leveled the playing field for people. You don't really need property managers as much anymore, especially if you only have a couple of properties. So what are some of the things that affect how much money you can make? Number 1 is nightly rate. How much are you charging guests per night? Number 2 is occupancy. How often is your place occupied, right? So how many days a year is your place filled with guests? And this varies from location to location. Typically here in Nashville, occupancy is like 65 to 70% on average for most Airbnb units. But since the pandemic hit, it has gone down quite a bit. We expect to see that pick back up here in the next couple of months. But what we're seeing right now is in places like the mountains, lakes, beaches, occupancy is through the roof. But that's a good rule of thumb, is you can look up on Airdna or some of these other sites to figure out what the occupancy is typically in the area, what the average nightly rate is. And by multiplying those two together, you can figure out what type of revenue that you could generate throughout the year. Now that revenue number is not your profit, right? You're gonna have expenses. Typically you're not buying this house cash. So you have debt service, you have a mortgage, you have taxes, insurance, you have operating expenses, utility costs, Wi-Fi. What other amenities do you provide for guests? So all of those expenses add up. So you subtract those expenses away from your revenue and it gives you your net profit or your net cash flow, which is quite literally your take-home pay at the end of each month. Now we already touched on location, but now what type of properties generate the most money? Now, I'm big on how many people you can accommodate in the rental unit. Think not so many how many bedrooms does it have, but how many people can it sleep? How many people can it accommodate? Because many of these places, people are going to be out and about exploring a city or exploring the mountains, the lake, the beach, whatever it is, and they just need a place to sleep. So how many people can you accommodate? And the more people you can accommodate, typically you can charge more per night by being able to accommodate more guests because it's cheaper per person. Now, if you go on Airbnb and you go on any particular location, you guys can search Gatlinburg, Tennessee or Pigeon Forge. That's one of the most popular places for short-term rentals right now. And we just bought our first place out in Gatlinburg. It's in the mountains. And if you scroll through there, pretty much every property, about 90% of them look the same. They're all wood, cabiny feel. They all look pretty nice, rustic touches, but very few and far between really stand out. So once people are searching for that criteria, maybe they have 10 guests, they need it for 3 nights, how does your property stand out? Now, properties that have some sort of X factor are going to do better. And what I mean by X factor is something that stands out, right? If all the listings are kind of two and the same as you're scrolling through and they all look somewhat similar and time to blend it together, you only have a few photos as a host to grab someone's attention. And renting a place out for a weekend, especially if it's a special occasion like a family vacation or maybe a bachelorette or a bachelor party or just a birthday getaway, whatever it is, you need something that people can be emotionally drawn to, and they can say, hey, I can see myself staying there. I can see myself posting on Instagram and Facebook and showing everybody how great of a time I am. So places that have some sort of X factor are going to be able to charge more per night and are going to be occupied more. And typically, the conjunction of those two are going to get you, obviously higher revenue numbers, but also more reviews and more positive reviews, which jump your rating on Airbnb. And ultimately comes full circle. You get booked more, you can charge more again, and it goes on and on and on. Last thing I'll talk about is proximity. How close is it to the action, right? If you're renting a place out in New York City, Nashville, Austin, Texas, and you are catering toward the younger crowd who's going to go bar hopping or go to maybe a music event somewhere, how close are you to that attraction? So location is a big thing. People will sacrifice paying more money if they can walk to an event or walk to a bar or restaurant versus Ubering, because they think about those other costs if they were to stay further away. How close are they going to be to the attraction? So location has a big thing to do with that. If you're closer, you can charge more per night. All right, guys, full transparency. I try to be as transparent as possible when I talk to people and also on this YouTube channel, but I'm going to talk to you guys about our 3 units that we currently have and how much we are expected to make over the next 12 months. And these are real projections. A few of them we've operated for the past year. One of them is a brand new house we just listed in October, and we've already seen an insane amount of bookings revenue come in just in the first week alone. So the 3 properties we have 2 properties in Nashville. The first property is a downtown property. It's a modern historic townhouse, sleeps 8 people. The second Nashville property is a bit bigger, more catered toward the bachelorettes and the birthday parties. It does very well. That sleeps 12 guests, has a big rooftop, and it's a super cool place for larger groups to hang out. Now the last property, guys, is the one I'm most excited about. We just finished it. It's a bit different because we bought an older house and we flipped it and did a modern yet rustic twist on it to help it stand out amongst the crowd in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Most of the houses out there are kind of rustic and all wood in every single room of the house. So this one was a little bit different. We have black and white paints, contrasting wood trim. It's a beautiful property. If you have a chance, go check it out. I'll drop the link to the Airbnb below. If you want to see the other properties, hit lusobnb.com. You're welcome to see all our photos and things like that, how much we charge per night. But this place in Gatlinburg sleeps 16 people, and it will definitely be above and beyond our expectations. We already have almost $30,000 of bookings within the first 7 days of being listed on Airbnb and VRBO. So I think it's going to be our biggest money producer. So for the first property, the downtown property that sleeps 8 people in Nashville, that place on average will do around $5,000 a month in revenue. In peak season, it'll do more than that, but just for our estimates here, we're gonna just do $5,000. And our average monthly expenses, which includes everything from operating expenses, including debt service, so our mortgage, taxes, insurance, all of those items, that is about $2,700 per month. So all you have to do is take those 2 numbers and take the $5,000 and subtract the $2,700, and that brings us to an average of $2,300 a month in cash flow. Now our other property is pretty much just right now a weekend getaway and catered toward the bachelorette. So we're able to charge a lot more on the weekends. We have a lot of emotional draw with a big, beautiful butterfly wing mural in there. It says Nashville above it. It's super cool. Create, again, those Instagrammable moments. So this property on average, we're expecting to bring in around $7,500 a month in revenue. And in peak season between March all the way through October, we're gonna probably break $10,000 in revenue some month, but again, some of the slower months in the winter. So we're trying to have a good average here, again, to be conservative with our estimates. But this property has already produced for us, so we're projecting around $7,500 a month in revenue and $4,000 total in expenses on average per month, which brings us to a monthly cash flow of $3,500 for this property. And now for the most exciting property, guys, the one in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, the mountain house. It sleeps 16 people. We're able to charge a premium for this house. And on most weekend nights throughout the year, we're charging anywhere from about $595 all the way up to like $1,300 or $1,400 depending on the time of year. Again, people really go seek out an awesome family getaway, an awesome family vacation, so we're able to charge significantly higher. And again, the weeknights, especially in the lower season, we'll charge less, maybe in the 300s or 400s per night. The average monthly revenue projected here is $10,450 a month. And the average monthly expenses, and again, debt service, comes to a total of around $3,471 were the numbers we just finished up the other day estimating. That equates to $6,979 in monthly cash flow. So now we're gonna take these three numbers right here, which is the monthly cash flow for each property. We're gonna add all those up, which brings us to an estimated $12,779 per month in cash flow. Now, if you take that number, multiply it by 12 months, you get the total net profit for the year to add up to $153,348, which is insane to think about. Just three investments. Granted, two out of the three are much larger houses, so they were a little bit more money out of pocket for us. But this kind of return is unseen in long-term rentals or even some commercial real estate deals. So if you guys are looking to make big returns on your investment, I cannot recommend looking into short-term rentals and listing on sites such as Airbnb. I can't recommend it enough. The earnings potential is insane, especially if you can differentiate yourselves among your competition. And again, have that emotional appeal to guests and get people to book your place and book it often. You can charge a premium. The more reviews you get, the further up in the rankings you're gonna get boosted on the Airbnb search, and they're gonna see all the positive reviews and how nice the place is, and you're gonna be able to charge even more because the demand for that place is gonna be higher. Now, this is only 3 properties. Imagine scaling to 5, 10, or 20 properties or more. It is just insane, again, how much money and how quickly you can achieve financial freedom by investing in short-term rentals. Now, even if something goes terribly wrong and we have some unforeseen expenses, or maybe we're not booked out as much as we think we are, we're still gonna be netting over 100 grand a year and over 6 figures from these 3 investments. This is probably on the higher end of the conservative side of estimates. Some months we're gonna be able to do far more than $12,000 in cash flow between those 3 properties, especially during the summer months when it's just buzzing with tourists and people are willing to spend a little more money and staying for longer periods of time. If you guys wanna check out any of these listings, see what we're charging per night, see how often we're booked, see the photos that we have, and all that good stuff, feel free to go to lussobnb.com. That's LUSSOBNB.com. You can click on properties, have some photos there, have descriptions, and if you hit check availability, it'll actually bring you to the Airbnb splash page where you can see all of our property descriptions, how we kind of market the property, the photos that we use, and what we've done to kind of stand out from the crowd. And what I encourage you to do is also search for properties in Nashville or in Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge area, and see what I'm talking about as far as differentiating yourself from the rest of the crowd. Now, when you go do this, you'll be able to see how we stand out a little bit differently, at least in our opinion we do. Let me know if you think otherwise, but we try to have a few things that help us stand out amongst the crowd, and again, have some sort of X factor that allow us to charge a premium and get more guests and have a higher occupancy throughout the year. I really hope you guys got something out of this video. Again, if you have any questions, suggestions, or if you think I'm crazy, drop some comments below. Let's chat. I'm more than happy to engage in some dialogue. I've had dozens of people reach out through YouTube, through Instagram, through LinkedIn, Facebook, Bigger Pockets, all sorts of places, and I've had some awesome conversations with people. I've learned stuff from people. I hope I bring value to other people. You know, we can share ideas on investing in real estate. So if you guys ever want to chat, please let me know. I'm always open to an open dialogue and learning what you're interested in as well. So before you go, guys, please don't forget to hit the like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Trying to grow this channel a little bit and engage, with more people around the world. And hopefully I can bring value to you guys. And again, if you have any type of YouTube channel or forum or blog that you think I may be interested in, feel free to drop that below as well. I'd love to check it out and see what you guys have going on. So that's it for today, guys. Good luck to all of you on your path to financial freedom.